We are kicking off with WWE's live event inside Madison Square Garden, as the most anticipated match was between CM Punk and Dominik Mysterio, in Punk's first match in WWE since January 2014. In the 7th match of the night, Punk defeated Dominik with a GTS and got a ton of love from the crowd who chanted, "You've still got it," at the wrestling veteran. While there were a couple of instances where Punk tripped in the ring, fans didn't give him the dreaded "you fuck" chant, which they may have done in a different promotion. Not only did Punk prove he still got it, but there was one moment in the match when he decided to show his athletic prowess in front of Rhea Ripley, who was at ringside. With Dominik out of the ring, Punk looked Rhea directly in the eye as he performed some press-ups and what some have suggested may have been a bit of flirting by the ex-AEW star. This was Punk's first match and win since returning to WWE back at Survivor Series in Chicago, and after the win, Punk grabbed the mic to fire up the NYC crowd. He said, "Yeet? That was for my boy Uso back there. This was for all of you. I'll be honest, there's a little part of me that came here for me, but you guys are the high tide that raises all ships. You've carried me throughout my career to the greatest moments. This is one of them. I want you to look to your left, look to your right, look behind you, say hello to your neighbors, shake hands. We're all in this together. When I wake up in the morning and someone asks me how my day is, I say, hey, I woke up this morning. Everything else after that, I'm fortunate for. Every day I'm in the ring and in front of all of you, I'm fortunate for. I came back here to finish what I started. It starts tonight in the world's most famous arena in front of you, the greatest fans on earth. I know I have stiff competition, but I'm here to finish what I started. When I win the Royal Rumble and go on to main event WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to let you know that isn't me finishing my story. That's just me getting started." Punk was almost at a loss for words when he arrived in the Garden, and it's certainly been a wild year for the Chicago-made star who is now home again in WWE. In some backstage footage, Punk could be seen coming back through the curtain, and in his first comment since his win over Mysterio declared, "King's back, best in the world." Punk had the crowd well and truly on his side inside the Garden, so much so that few fans may have noticed that in contrast to his usual Chicago-themed attire, Punk wore completely plain black trunks. A report by Wrestle Purists prior to the show revealed that the special gear Punk ordered didn't fit, hence why he had to wear the generic replacement gear that he had available. Despite this, Punk was able to have his first WWE match in close to a decade. And what did you make of this match and wholesome promo in MSG? Let us know in the comments down below. On the show, the Judgment Day went up against Jey Uso and his Bloodline alum Sami Zayn in the latter's return to action after sustaining an injury at the hands of Drew McIntyre a few weeks back. The duo was a crowd favorite, drawing thunderous reactions from the live audience, but while they displayed remarkable chemistry throughout the match, a win wasn't meant to be. In the final moments, Zayn hit the haluva kick on Baszler and appeared poised for victory, but JD McDonagh got involved and hit Zayn with Damian Priest's Money in the Bank briefcase. This disrupted the pinfall and allowed Baszler to take advantage and secure the win, and it appears that Zayn was damaged during the match. After the match, Zayn could not walk and was checked on by Jey Uso and the referee, who was seen calling WWE personnel for assistance. A fan who attended said that while he was able to walk it off, he was barely able to stand, and fans have been wondering if he's really hurt or if he's just selling Drew's previous attack. We'll have to see what Sami Zayn does next in WWE, as he certainly has a lot of fan support and momentum as he closes out 2023, and who should he feud with next? Let us know down below. Over to NXT, and in the men's breakout tournament, Lexis King was rolling against Riley Osbourne until Trey Bearhill with a steel chair distracted him while King was on the top rope. This allowed Osbourne the chance to knock King down and used a shooting star press to win in a huge upset in the tournament. Osbourne remains an unknown property in NXT, while the Gold brand has immediately pushed King, and this is the best for the tournament that has two fresh names in the finals. The match itself felt rushed and barely reached over 3 minutes, so it's still hard to tell what kind of ceiling Osbourne has, but being part of Chase U means he has a clear TV story going forward. As for King, he's lost a bit of mystique since his arrival, with 2 notable losses to end 2023, and if this continues, he might lose his credibility altogether. In the other Breakout tournament semifinals match, Femi defeated Tavion Heights with a pop-up powerbomb, and we'll have to see if Femi or Osbourne wins next week at New Year's Evil. Next week's show will also see Ilya Dragunov defend against Trick Williams, and with the injury angle with Ridge Holland from last week, we'll have to see what condition the Mad Dragon is in at New Year's Evil. It appears that next week's show will also feature talent from the main roster, as the No Quarter Catch Club will face off against the LWO and Dragon Lee. On this week's show, the group laid out a challenge to the LWO and North American Champion for New Year's Evil, which was accepted by the faces. Elektra Lopez wanted to speak with Wilde and Del Toro, while Lola Vice was not interested, perhaps due to siding with Santos Escobar in the LWO war based on a recent tweet. This will no doubt be a high-octane, action-filled match and add some star power to next week's New Year's Evil event. More from WWE's show and MSG that saw Rhea Ripley retain the Women's World Championship in a triple threat against Shayna Baszler and Ivy Nile. It wasn't just the two legit fighters that Ripley had to deal with though, as during one moment, Ripley was sent out of the ring and had her hand placed on the guardrail. When a fan decided to place her hand on the champion's own, Rhea was far from pleased, yelling at them, "Don't touch me with your disgusting hands." One fan told Ripley that the fan she yelled at loved her, which Rhea said was obviously the case, in a hilarious interaction that has since gone viral online. Ripley's dedication to her character has been a hit with audiences so far, and with years left in her in-ring career, expect plenty more fun interactions like these in the years to come. In other matches on the card, Katana Chance and Kayden Carter beat Chelsea Green and Piper Niven to retain the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship after a double-team finisher on Niven. OMOS defeated R-Truth in a squash match following a chokeslam, while Rhea Ripley retained in the aforementioned Women's World Title Triple Threat contest. Becky Lynch defeated Zoey Stark via pinfall after hitting the manhandle slam, earning herself some momentum ahead of her match on the Day 1 Raw against Nia Jax. Cody Rhodes defeated Shinsuke Nakamura in a bull rope match, which was the first bull rope match in WWE for either man, and Cody's second bull rope match overall. His previous experience in the match came in 2017 when he faced Jay Lethal in Ring of Honor, and this type of match was one that his father Dusty regularly competed in. Dusty once faced Randy Orton in a bull rope match at Great American Bash 2007, and this was WWE's first match of its kind since Chavo Guerrero vs. Hornswoggle on the August 31st, 2009 Raw. Cody Rhodes has been one of WWE's biggest stars this year, with several notable wins to his name, and now the American Nightmare has another accolade to call his own. Rhodes recently bagged ESPN's Male Wrestler of the Year award for 2023, besting Roman Reigns, MJF, and Will Ospreay for the top spot, and just wait till you see what Rhodes does in 2024. In one of the most high-profile matches of the night, Seth Rollins defeated Drew McIntyre in a no DQ, no countout main event to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. It was a hard-fought win for Rollins, who will face Drew on the Day 1 Raw, but Rollins had plenty to say about those who are no longer with us after the match. After the show, Rollins spoke about the passing of Wyndham Rotunda, who died this past August, and about Brody Lee, who died on Boxing Day in 2020. Rollins also gave the crowd time to chant as much as they wanted, and said that earlier in the show when the arena lights were off, he saw the Fireflies were still out there. Rollins told the crowd that despite there being a curfew, he would not be leaving the ring until they all put up their Fireflies and made so much noise that both Lee and Rotunda could hear. This was an incredibly emotional way for the show to end, and the fans were moved by Rollins' tribute, as Wyndham Rotunda and Brody Lee will never be forgotten. Recently, Steve New, the lawyer of CM Punk and Ace Steel, claimed that the majority of people involved in Brawl Out had an NDA preventing them from speaking on the matter. When Chris Jericho claimed that he had no such NDA, New begged to differ, earning himself a fiery Christmas Day response by Chris, and there's now been another twist in this situation. In another tweet, New called Chris's fiery response Exhibit A, and on Twitter, Morgan Holly Moore shared a controversial post asking if she could release some DMs from AEW stars. These DMs, according to Moore, see AEW talent ignore the NDAs allegedly found in their employee handbooks and badmouth CM Punk after Brawl Out. While Moore has released some private correspondence, none have so far seen anybody bash CM Punk, with the most controversial moment being that Wardlow liked a sexy picture of hers. We'll have to see if Moore does produce DMs of wrestlers badmouthing Punk after Brawl Out, which should violate their AEW NDAs, but so far, Moore has stopped short of delivering the goods. Now, the Royal Rumble is just 1 month away, so it's hardly a surprise that fans are excited to learn more about the event, and recently a leak of the card surfaced online. This card features a total of 6 matches, including Roman Reigns vs. Randy Orton, Io Sky vs. Shotzi, Logan Paul facing Kevin Owens, and the Judgment Day taking on the Creeds. As for the two Rumble matches, this leak says that number 15 entrant Bayley will win the women's match by eliminating the returning Sasha Banks, while number 28 entrant CM Punk will win the men's. As exciting as these results may be, it's been confirmed that this leak is a complete fake, and that WWE wouldn't do a report in this much detail until the week of the Royal Rumble event. Could CM Punk win by last eliminating Cody Rhodes? Sure. And we can't count on a return by Sasha Banks, but this leak should be treated as WWE fan fiction and nothing concrete. Bron Breakker was in his usual foul mood at this week's NXT, and Nathan Frazer was caught making fun of him until Breakker arrived to challenge Frazer. Frazer proved to be a worthy opponent for Bron, but he refused to lose, and after Frazer missed the Phoenix Splash, he walked right into a spear from the former NXT champion. Frazer was a great foil for Breakker, pushing his pace in a match that was never dramatic, but always exciting, and it's great to see Bron face talents that he can't directly meet. The result, however, was never in any question, and it's hard to get a handle of what Frazer is doing, as he badmouths everyone and comes across as unlikable, but NXT hasn't committed to a heel turn. He's currently just a good wrestler without a clear character, which is similar to Bron, who continues to get big wins, but remains entirely lost. With Baron Corbin watching this match backstage, hopefully Bron gets some direction in the new year, as right now he's continuing to get jumped by others heading to the main roster. In May of last year, WWE unified the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and at the time, there were no shortage of fans against the idea. Even now, there's fans who'd prefer Raw and SmackDown would have their own sets of tag titles, and it was reported recently that WWE are considering splitting the Undisputed Tag Gold. In an update, a source within WWE Creative told Ringside News that there have been plans made to split the tag titles, but there are also plans made to keep things the way they are. There had been discussions about splitting up the Undisputed Tag Team titles since we united them, but obviously that is yet to happen. Right now, the idea as to what to do with them is frozen due to the fact that there are plans to split them and keep them together as well. The Judgment Day currently hold the titles, but it remains to be seen how long they'll be champions for, and whether they could be the final undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. Next March, Sting will wrestle in his final match at AEW Revolution 2024, marking 3 years since his wrestling debut for AEW at the same event. Much has been said about who Sting's opponent will be, and when appearing on the Steve and Captain Evil show, Bill Goldberg revealed that he wanted into the match. He said, "Sting is the reason why I broke into the business. Sting set a great example. He's about to retire. I tried to be a part of his retirement match. I would not have chosen to get into the world of professional wrestling if it wasn't for Sting. He was a normal dude who went out and did abnormal things. Wrestling is like being in the circus, it truly is. I never looked at it with much respect, but after I watched him from afar, I realized that I had the ability to go do it. He was not only a performer, he had self-respect and commanded respect. He's one of the best human beings on the planet, and he set an example for me, and I just tried to grab it and run with it and make him proud. I had the best time of my life in the ring with Sting." Although Goldberg and Sting clashed multiple times in WCW, they haven't shared a ring since 2000, and it doesn't appear that they ever will again. We will have to see how AEW books Sting's road to retirement. They're certain to make the biggest deal about the event that they can, ensuring that the Stinger goes out on a very high note. Goldberg is also seeking his own retirement match, but it's unclear where or when that'll take place. And would you have liked to have seen Goldberg share the ring with Sting for the Icon's last match? More from the Garden as Imperium were represented inside the world's most famous arena, but we doubt Gunther will be pleased with the performance of Ludwig Kaiser. Kaiser went up against Kofi Kingston at the event in New York City, and Kingston was able to defeat the German superstar in his second win against the Imperium member in over a month. With this win, the problems for Gunther and Imperium have only increased, as Kaiser has been struggling to win since his previous loss to Kofi on November 17th in a dark match on SmackDown. Der Ring General has not been impressed with Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci as of late, and this loss will only anger him more, as it remains to be seen what this loss means for Imperium going forward. There was plenty of buzz around this year's Boxing Day WWE event. In fact, there was more buzz than any other show in the past. That's according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, who reports that there were records broken by last night's event. He reports, "Internal WWE live events reports claim that WWE's live event in Madison Square Garden was sold out. The event was said to be the highest-grossing domestic non-televised event of all time for WWE. WWE has been on a roll in 2023, and things look equally promising in 2024. especially after this historic, record-breaking return to the world's most famous arena. To NXT next, as in an all-or-nothing match between Chase U and O.T.M, Duke Hudson was on a roll until Andre Chase took a blind tag and walked into the finisher of Bronco Nima and Lucian Price. This was okay, but Chase U didn't hit their usual stride typical of their tag matches, and this was all part of the story of Chase ruining his MVP's momentum by tagging in. The angle was more important than the action, and sets Nima and Price up for their biggest match against NXT Tag Champs The Family, who watched from the stage. They won't beat the Family, but can prove they belong. And as for Chase U, we hope this messy angle doesn't last much longer, as the group is at its best with underdog fire. Up next, NXT announced their year-end award winners, with the Creeds taking home Tag Team of the Year, Tiffany Stratton being crowned Female Superstar of the Year, and Ilya Dragunov taking home the Male Superstar of the Year award. Later in the show, Ilya Dragunov vs. Carmelo Hayes at No Mercy won NXT Match of the Year, while The Undertaker's appearance on October 10th was Moment of the Year. In a Heritage Cup match, Noam Dar retained against Josh Briggs, but with a finish that could easily mean we'll see more of this story. The finish saw Lash Legend hit Briggs with a bucket behind the ref's back, and when Briggs used the bucket on Dar, the ref saw it and DQ'd him in an intriguing end to the contest. Carmen Petrovic tried to overwhelm Cora Jade with her strike-heavy offense, but Jade was able to put her away with an Impact DDT and taunted her after the match. Gigi Dolan arrived to make the save in a match that was little more than a classic NXT squash, where the losing wrestler got most of the offense. The result was never in question, though we are surprised with Jade suddenly feuding with Dolan after making it clear she's ready for the NXT Women's Champion. In our penultimate match from NXT, Joe Gacy defeated Joe Coffey of Gallus, and given the weeks of build, it was odd to rush this out on a show that could have used time for other contests. Gacy's evolution has been interesting, though the crazy characters have rarely lasted in WWE, and there's a sense that his full strengths on the mic and in the ring aren't being used effectively. In our NXT main event, the second ever NXT Underground match took place, with the Performance Center crew around the ring keeping the energy high throughout. Those at ringside were clearly behind Eddie Thorpe, who refused to quit no matter what Dijak did to him. The two held nothing back, with Thorpe trying to suplex Dijak to the floor, only for Hard Justice to land on his feet and pull his rival to the floor to hit with Feast Your Eyes. Dijak began beating up the Performance Center crew out of frustration when Thorpe got back up, and there was a nice spot when Thorpe reversed a powerbomb into a head scissors takedown on the floor. That was followed up by an elbow drop off the apron and Manifest Destiny, but Dijak refused to quit and wiped out Thorpe with an impressive running somersault out of the ring. In the end, it was a third Manifest Destiny, this one through the announce table, that left Dijak unable to answer the ref's 10 count, as once again, Dijak picks a fight that he'd ultimately lose. This was by far Thorpe's best NXT match, as he has made the Underground match his own, and may want to use it even more, even after he heads to Raw or SmackDown. Speaking of the main roster, it's time to send Dijak back to Raw or SmackDown and keep this character, as he cannot just build other stars forever. In our final segment, Trick Williams and Ilya Dragunov signing the contract for their match at New Year's Evil. The Mad Dragon was wearing a neck brace, but removed it before the signing. And that was this week's NXT. And what did you make of the show? Let us know in the comments down below.